Dear friends, thank you. Dear friends, it were fantastic, fascinating as usual hours. Hot here inside this room, and hot because of the discussion, especially last one with Yuri Lutsenko, General Prosecutor. I don't know if he left this... you are here, so if you will change your mind and you will decide to arrest some who, especially with famous names, please remember that you have two specialists how to release political prisoners in Ukraine, Pat Cox and myself, you know. And then we'll continue our job. But I count on you very much, and I think that your decision will be fair and you will be correct also politically. Dear friends, an opening speech of our annual meeting, Viktor Pinchuk quoted these famous Hebrew words, Shana haba Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. And these words are symbolizing the dreams, but not only the dreams, also determination, hard work, and a lot of efforts, and a lot of suffers, very, very long way, but still with this constant dream that next year in Jerusalem, Shana haba Yerushalayim. And I think after these 2 days, of course, it's very difficult to summarize such rich and deep, insightful discussion, but I would like to use this phrase to say about some things, which, in my opinion, are such general conclusions of our this year discussion. First is next year in the space. I was very much impressed by the words of Stephen Hawking yesterday, and I think the main message was that the main driving force of contemporary world is science, is technology, and we should be prepared for these changes which are unprecedented, because the change is nothing new for the humanity. We are changing from the very beginning. The world of Adam and Eve and now is totally different. But the speed, the acceleration, that is something absolutely unprecedented, something absolutely new. And we should be prepared that not politics, not economy, not demography, also to some extent all these factors are playing important role. But first of all, science and technology are changing our world. And two elements will change our world sooner and not later. That is robotization and artificial intelligence. And we don't know what means artificial intelligence, in fact. What means this new phenomenon for labor market? What means for communication? What means for our life? What means for all elements of our normal days? And I think, and that is my proposal to our board, next year we should include to our program more and more debates about all these new technologies, new changes, because they will determine our life much more as we can imagine even now. So I don't know how much we are prepared to go to the space. Frankly speaking, if such trip to the new planets would be possible, I would like to buy tickets to all my opponents, firstly, and then we look. But in any case, these new technologies, they will be the most important driving force of the life of the world next years. The second point is next year in Europe. And here I have some optimistic, in my opinion, information to Ukraine, because I think this time of a lot of fears which we had before French election are overcame. I think today we have a new Europe. I said during one of the panels, the Europe will, especially after German election, which thanks God is very predictable, not so much as in Russia, but still quite predictable. And this is okay, that European policy, international policy of Germany will not change in any case. And it means, in my opinion, that after this election in Europe, we'll have a new chapter, we will have a new process of acceleration of deeper integration led by two countries, Macron in France and Germany with new old chancellor. And this Europe of many speeds, what is a new, not very popular idea, for example, in my country, but frankly speaking, first of all, is irreversible. Europe will go next years with many speeds, and there's no chances to stop this process because we'll have leading forces, Germany, France, we'll have a Eurozone, we'll have a Schengen, we'll have others. But I think in this situation with many speeds, with the situation with long-lasting, difficult negotiations with UK about Brexit, the chance for Ukraine is bigger and not smaller. If your hard work and homework will be enough efficient, I think in this new construction, this changed construction of European Union, we can find easier the place for Ukraine as in such very conservative concept of European Union which we had before Brexit. It seems maybe for some of you paradoxically, but I think that is a real chance. This is a chance to find some good solutions, to find the position for UK after Brexit and for Ukraine before full membership. For that, of course, it's necessary to do this homework, which we discussed quite many times here, and I support very much all these reforms, and especially everything what is connected with corruption, because corruption is a real problem of this country. But corruption is also damaging the image of Ukraine. That is a brand which you have to change as soon as possible. And I think everything what Yuri said before, and Prime Minister and President, they give us some hope that this homework will be done and will be enough effective and attractive to say, European partners, yes, Ukraine is better prepared, Ukraine moved on this way of the reforms forward. The third I would like to say, next year in Donetsk, I think Carl Bildt said first these words, and I think this is something very clever, because that is something what we should discuss, of course, with all our, national pride, patriotism, but also in a very realistic way. And in this very realistic way, it's necessary to say, I will repeat some opinions which you heard here in this room. We cannot expect the change of Russian strategy now, because this strategy is, Bill Gates said correctly, 2 points. To renew, what I said, because I was thinking about this new technology so much that I did this mistake. But this is not bad for Robert Gates too. But he said, Robert Gates, former Secretary of Defense of US, he said that, and I fully agree, that two main obstacles, two main objectives of Putin is first to restore the position of the superpower in this international game, in this international architecture, this is Syria, etc. And the second, what for Ukraine is much more important, that is to rebuild the position of empire, of the Russian superpower. And for that, for Russian empire, because of the history and because of a lot of arguments, Ukraine is absolutely point number one, the most important. And we cannot expect that this politics will change. Of course, the Russians, they started to use now the new description. They don't speak longer on such international conferences about zone of influence. They started to speak about friendly and loyal neighborhood. What sounds good, very good. And of course, that is some connection with this Eastern neighborhood policy, because European Union invented such policy some years ago. But in any case, it means the same. Loyal, the friendly, that's okay, but loyal neighborhood means that is a zone of influence. And of course, we cannot expect this change of Russian politics in the next months, especially before, and I fully agree with my colleagues some minutes before Russian presidential election. But I see the small window of opportunity, and I think to some extent our Russian guest today, Andrei Kortunov, said something what I understand as this small window of opportunity. After the election, Mr. Putin will have the next 6 years. And I think he's really a very pragmatic person and enough clever person to understand that Russia needs the real modernization. And this modernization is not only the modernization of military forces, of modernization of some branches of the industry. That is the real modernization of the state. That Russia needs modernization of governance, needs modernization of institutions, needs modernization or change of judiciary system, etc., etc. I understand he tries to prepare such program because nomination of Mr. Kudrin and his team is a signal that he understands necessity of these decisions after the election. I don't know if he is enough strong, he's enough determined to do it. But I think if Russia will decide to modernize this country, really, and president of this country will decide about it, that is the small window of opportunity, because this modernization without cooperation with the West is impossible, is absolutely impossible. And because the position of the West is so clear in case of Ukraine and Ukraine crisis, I think that is a momentum. Of course, that is theoretical concept still, when we can find some real dialogue and real possibility to find solution, difficult solution of Ukrainian-Russian war or this crisis. I'm realistic. I know that Crimea is a different story. That is a story which is very much connected with Russian mentality, psychology, this imperialistic DNA which is in Russian blood very much. But I think the crisis in Donetsk and Lugansk can be really on the table of serious discussions without naivety, but which can lead us to positive and according international law solutions. I understand that now it's time of pre-election game, and everything what Mr. Putin proposed in United Nations, this peacekeeping mission, etc., we should see as a part of this, let's say, campaign, and we should be careful. But I think this dialogue is necessary to open. I repeat again, without naivety, but this dialogue is necessary to open. And why? Because I tell you, this crisis, this conflict between Russia and Ukraine, you are absolutely innocent. That is all responsibility, in my opinion, is on Russian side. I have no doubts about it. But in the understanding of the many people, not only the governments, but only the many people in European Union, in NATO, that is a main obstacle, how to go forward with Ukraine when we have such difficult conflict without ideas how we can resolve this conflict. And that is a real handicap, that is a real disadvantage. That is something what we have to understand. Some words more. Yeah, applause? Okay. No, that's... And last point which I dedicate to you, because I discussed this issue of possibility to find solution in this dramatic conflict with Russia. It's difficult here, and I think Wolfgang Kissinger is a witness of these difficulties, how not easy is to say some pragmatic proposals in such atmosphere, very understandable, legitimate atmosphere of your patriotism about these solutions. But I would like to repeat what Tony Blair said, speaking about, or quoted Shimon Peres. Sometimes the peace needs much more courage as the war. Oh, you said, so twice I quote you, that is good for you. But that is a very clever words of Shimon Peres. Really, that is something what is sometimes achieved much more difficult and needs much more courage and needs much more brave people as a war, because sometimes a war is a result of crazy ideas of crazy people. So I think this next year in Donetsk, if we will have some good response from Russian side and constant support from the West, and you have this support, I think all these sanctions, the position of the United States today and European Union gives us some chance, small chance, I repeat, very small chance, to look or to start to discuss the dialogue about solution of this crisis. And last point, next year in Yalta, of course, would be great. But I think that's if it's still our dream. But we will show also as a Yalta European strategy such determination, such efforts, such hard work. We'll organize next such fantastic conference like this year and previous years, when we'll collect such fantastic audience and participants of our meeting. One day we will organize this annual meeting in Yalta. I'm absolutely sure about it. And now, after so many years here, I ask you for applause for the main authors, for the main creators of our meeting and fascinating hours together. First, to the founder of YES and the spiritus movens of our job and our meeting, Viktor Pinchuk. Applause. Applause for so many very qualified and very interesting and very passionate speakers. Please applaud our moderators, Farid Zakaria, Richard Haas, and especially many thanks for the longest hard talk in your life to Stephen Sackel. I would like to thank the YES team, Thomas Weje, Benjamin, yes, please. Thomas, where are you? Benjamin Loring, the new face in our team. Thank you. Svetlana Kovalchuk. Where is Svetlana? Natalia Vovk. Jelena Rybałko. And all others, women and men, girls and boys who help us very much during this conference. I want to thank our translators. It was absolutely unbelievable, fantastic job and so difficult. Extremely difficult when Lutsenko is speaking because he's speaking so fast. You know. Then I would like to thank our partners who organized Nightcap, and especially, and please hear huge applause because it was fantastic to see these people so much interest, so much involved in our meeting, the people from Besarabka market. Then many thanks for our partners, Aravak Energy, Hillmold Partners, International Renaissance Foundation, and Ukrainian School of Politics Studies, partner of Civil Servant Power. Okay. Yes, now for all of them, some more. And finally, I would like to thank our media partners, ICTV, the Kiev Post, Nowe Vremia Strany, Liga Media, Euronews i Zerkalo Tyżnia. Dear friends, really,
our chairman of the board,
Aleksander Kwaśniewski. No, that's good. That I would like. That is finally what I have to say. I want to thank the members of the board. I see here in the room Pat Cox, but also I want to thank Karl Bildt, Wolfgang Ischinger, Nirup Rasmussen, Stefan Fuchs, and Javier Solana, who unfortunately didn't participate in our meeting, but he's still with us. And thank you, dear colleagues. And that's it. I tell you, in Olympics movement, I was in my life also the chairman of Polish Olympic Committee. and I took part in some Olympics, and normal, especially it was a concept of Brundage and then Samaranch. They finished each Olympic Games with such a sentence that it were the best Olympics in the history. And then finally it was difficult to say that the Olympics were not so good, that they were the best Olympics in the history. It started first time in Atlanta, 96, that Samaranch said, well, thank you very much for the Olympics. So, because I know this story and I know the history of Olympic movement, I never said that now I close the best annual meeting in the history. I want to close fantastic meeting of Yalta European Strategy, and I want to invite you for the next, at least so good, fantastic meeting of Yalta European Strategy next year, hopefully in Yalta. Thank you.